All right. So let me introduce you. For those of you who don't know who this great man is, I'm here with, I would say, MMA legend, UFC Hall of Champion, three-time King of Pancrase, ultimate badass, Boss Rutten. Boss, good to see you. Yeah. My testosterone went up just by doing your introduction.
Stop looking at me. That's insane.
So, well, first, what have you been up to nowadays? What are you working on?
Nothing. I'm with COVID hit. I invented that long training device.
Yeah.
And when COVID hit, suddenly it starts booming up, and now it's really all the tests that we have. The doctors now supporting it, COPD, like pulmonologists, who are getting it actually from insurance. So now the thing suddenly, it's crazy. I have a commercial out there where I say if you buy it for asthma, and after 30 days of doing it, which takes 4 minutes a day, it's not gone, no 70 or 80% or more are completely gone, I give you your money back. So that's how secure I am about the product. It's working really well.
I feel the same way about it. For those of you who follow me, I train in Muay Thai, I compete in Muay Thai, and it makes your conditioning so freaking good to go fight and not get tired. It's like, it's amazing. It's incredible. So I recommend it to everybody, people who have asthma as well. I tell them, do this. You're not going to have issues with your asthma anymore. And it blows their mind. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of it.
Perfect. Love it.
You know, there's that saying, have you ever read Think and Grow Rich?
No.
Okay, well, Napoleon Hill, he wrote this book, Think and Grow Rich. It's a huge bestseller in the self-improvement field. And he speaks about how within every negative event is the seed of an equal or greater benefit.
Yeah,
and you took something, your asthma and your health conditions as a kid, and you turned it into this thing that's helping all these people now.
It's weird how that goes indeed, because I had the idea when I was 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I literally, because I knew after an asthma attack, I would resume my track and field. And of course, running the 400, 800, and 1500 meters because I was doing decathlon was always the worst for me. But I always would break my running times after an attack. The attack for me was 8 days in bed, 24/7, not able to breathe, not able to eat because I couldn't breathe. So I was breathing in but resistant. And when I realized that while I looked at the poster of the doctor's office, that there was an infect, they showed an infected bronchial tube and a healthy one. And I go, I have been working out my lungs. I thought at the time that your lungs were doing the work, which is not. Your lungs are just two bags. It's your muscles actually expanding in your diaphragm. And that was it. I started training with like a little washers, from washers and balls. I put it in front of my mouth, a little hole in it. And I tried to breathe through that. Super dangerous, of course. And eventually, like 10 years ago, I said, heck, I'm going to make it. See what happens.
Nice.
And boom, 3 weeks, my asthma was gone. Sent it to my buddy in Europe. 1 week, 8 days. He's selling them now in Europe. He goes, dude, this is crazy. So
it is. And it's like, I wish more people, I'm glad people are finally finding out about it because it's a lifesaver for people who have asthma and for people who don't have asthma and see people who have asthma, they might not realize how serious it is. So
it's, I went to this, that's the last thing I talk because you go into the conversation, but I went to this world breathing expert, Belisa Vranich. Mm-hmm. She wrote books about breathing. She's very, very known in the breathing world, so to say. Mm-hmm. And the first thing she did was measuring my chest. And my chest, and I knew what she was doing because the more you can expand, the more air you can pull in because that's how your lungs work. And she goes around and she says, breathe in. And then she goes, nah, that's not possible. And she does it again. And she says, wait. And she walks out. And I go, okay. And she comes back with another doctor. And she says, if I don't bring him, he's not going to believe what I just measured. I said, what do you mean? I said, it's either really good or really bad then, right? And she says, no. You just blew the record away. I mean, normally when they break a record, they break it by like 1 inch extra. You just did over more than 2 inches. He says, we've never seen anything like my breathing was measured at a 81%.
Jesus.
She said, I've never seen anything like it. So, but then we found out the trainer, since it trains the muscles responsible for breathing, that's why my chest expansion can go so wide. And that's why it's easy for me to build it up now. And when I look back at my fights, I just posted a video on my private Facebook page about O2 Trainer. In 1996, I was fighting Funaki, and I was really drilling him. That was the fight, that's a really cool fight. Mm-hmm. And you see me before the knockdown, I'm in the corner like this. I'm completely breathing wrong, like my chest. And I always run out of gas because my breathing couldn't keep up anymore. That is completely gone.
No
like
kidding.
Literally, I go out a full hard run. I go literally like this. I go, this is so crazy. Every time it surprises me. So that, and 95% of the people breathe wrong. Only 5% of the people, those are tests out there, breathe the correct way. This thing forces you to breathe the correct way. Boom. And that makes instant changes.
I love it. I'll say one more thing about it, and just because I've used it, and it's just in between rounds, I remember I would look up at the clock to see, how much longer I have to rest. But it's like 2 or 3 breaths, and you're ready to go, and then you're just like hanging out for the next 30 seconds, which is crazy to have happen in a Muay Thai fight. So
it's everything. And before you started fighting, and I say this to everybody, what do I tell you? I said, the most important thing for you when you go fight your first fights is stamina. Everybody goes wrong with stamina because with all the nerves, all the stamina you have in the dojo, in the training, it's cut in half right away. That does the adrenaline that take care of it. So you will be tired. So if you load up on stamina, you pretty much always win in the beginning because the other ones don't.
Yep, I agree totally. All right, so let's jump into it. So
good.
So you fought basically everybody, and you competed in a sport that 99% of people wouldn't even dare take a chance at or try out in terms of competing. What is the secret to your self-confidence?
I just broke everything down, and I wish I was able to do that with other things as well, like with acting and all that stuff, because there I still have some nerves. But at that moment when I would fight, I would literally focus because I knew that if the bell would go, everything is gone. And I come in I call it the bubble. It's really weird. I'm in a zone that I hear everything, but I know exactly what not to listen. I listen to his corner. That's what's all my biggest power. And I can literally hear people talking, English-speaking people on the first row, because this was in Japan always. And I'm so in control. It is so weird. And I know that if I would be nervous before a fight, I said, boss, once the bell goes, it's gone. Boom. And what is there to be nervous about? Okay, so he got you in an armbar. You tap, you're going to fight another day. If he knocks you out, well, apparently you don't feel it. That's what they say. So is that really so bad? The worst case scenario is somebody completely schooling you. And dropping you, walking away, says, no, take your time, come back up, like completely destroying you. But with good matchmaking, that never happens. So why are you afraid? There's nothing to be afraid of. As a referee, you don't have to be worried that somebody keeps on punching you. They will pull them off. So once I started talking like that to myself, I go, man, there's nothing to be worried about. And that was it. I was completely in the zone.
I agree. You told me one time, you said, Tony, if you were fighting somebody in a room and everyone locked the doors and nobody would know the outcome, would you be nervous at all? And I said, no. It's just, and then once I stopped caring so much about what everybody else is going to think, and most people aren't even thinking about me, they're thinking about themselves, what I'm thinking about them, it just took off a ton of pressure.
Everything is pressure, and that's what everybody does. And I'm so happy that you say that, because I say this in interviews, and a lot of people don't remember it. And I tell them, that's what I tell to my students, that they're very nervous. And they aren't. But so that means if you are nervous under pressure with people, that means you care what they think. And once you really don't give a crap about people, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying this in the way only for fighting, you need an ego. I don't care what everybody says. And then you fight the best because there's absolutely no pressure. And then your family, because they would tell me, what are you fighting for, your family? I said, no, I fight for me. And they go, well, that's weird because everybody fights to put food on the table. I say, no, not me. I say, I fight for myself. Because if I fight for myself and don't give a shit about anything else, I fight the very best. And if I fight the very best, probably going to win. And that means more money. My family's taken care of. You see? So take the pressure off and just fight for yourself. You need that little bit of an ego.
I agree with all this. And this whole pressure thing, I actually got this from you. 2 of my fights that I did my best, I actually didn't invite anybody. I didn't even tell anybody I was fighting. I just went and did it. And since nobody was there, I just unloaded and performed great. And then I told them afterwards, and they were all like, oh, you should have invited us. But it's just unwanted pressure for no reason until I got to a point where I was comfortable to have them there.
I do that with students who are very nervous, but I see a lot of talent in. I'll let them fight out of state.
Oh, perfect.
And I tell them you cannot say anything to anybody. I say, if you win, you can tell everybody you won. If you lose, there's no pressure. Nobody would know that you're fighting.
Exactly.
And that takes a lot of pressure away. Suddenly they're more relaxed. Look at the people who take a fight on 1 week notice. I believe that 80% of those always win. And what is the reason? It is pressure. Everybody expects them to lose because they took it on 7-day notice. So it doesn't matter if I lose. And that's why they win. Yep. I'm telling you, man, everything is in your head. Look at the 4-minute mile. Remember when it was broken? It could not be broken. One guy broke it. The next week, people stopped breaking it. It was just because we put barriers on ourselves. Oh, we cannot do it. No, you can do it. It's just doing it. I read this book about Joseph Greenstein. I don't know if you ever heard of him, the Atom Man, the mighty Atom. Was a guy 135 pounds, strongest man in the world, would grab like horseshoes, bantam, would bite 8 or 12 pennies in half. He would bite chains in half. Like doctors are coming to him. The guy's a phenomenal guy. And his teacher, he had asthma, and his teacher, a strong man, when he was a little kid, he said, we can get rid of that with breathing exercises. You know, it's only in your head, because they thought he was not going to live long. That guy started training him. And then at one moment, he was talking about a bug. And that bug, he says, this bug can carry like 80 times its weight. And then Joseph Greenstein was still a kid, and he says, why is that? And he says, because he doesn't know he can. And I go, man, that is it. You know, and that's what he says also. The things he did, they shot him with a 22 and the bullet didn't prepare. They flew him on his hair under a plane. He stopped the plane, a propeller plane, from taking off by his hair. I mean, this guy is just a guy that you have no the police, and that was at the time because he was a Jewish guy. And it was at the time with the Nazis in 1935, you know, when it already started coming. And he would do these talks about being healthy in the marketplaces. And then these neo-Nazis would come, you know, and they started. And there was just reports from the police, you know, from newspaper articles that the police said they didn't come there to save Joseph Greenstein. They came there to save the people from him, because he was just a 135-pound little guy just smashing everybody, breaking everybody up. An incredible guy, a very good guy as well. Good person, always helping people. Yeah, look him up, the Mighty Atom.
I will. I'll check it out for sure. By the way, a quick funny story. You said, I remember you had said that you would listen to your opponent's corner. And I remember you told me this story about how when you were fighting, it was the guy right before Randleman. His name eludes me. Huh?
Osaka. Was with Maurice Smith in the corner.
Yes, when you were going to head kick him and they yelled, watch out the head kick. And so you punched him instead.
That's it. Mm-hmm. And I told Maurice afterwards, I said, you should shut up. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you told him I was going to high kick him, which I was. So I switched it to a right straight, because a right straight and a right kick is almost the same body mechanics when you throw it. And he goes, yeah, you're probably the only one who listens to the other guy's corner, he said. I go, I always used to do it. I used to speak English to my Dutch corner. Okay. And they never understood why. It's just to get inside your head, because I would say the dumbest things. I would suddenly ask, hey, tonight, you want to go to Motown or you want to go gas padding? Those are 2 bars in Japan, in Roppongi. And then they would say, what do you mean? I said, Roppongi, gas padding wasn't nice last time. You want to go to Motown? And then I would go fighting again. And these guys go like, what the heck is going on? He's fighting me. He's talking about partying tonight. You see, I just did these little things to throw them off balance, you know, and just make them think about other things. And it always worked.
I had in my last fight, the corner told him in between rounds, they said, he's tired now. Jump on him in the next round. And I look up and I go, no, I'm not. Don't tell him that. He's going to get hurt. But right away, it messed with him. His corner goes, oh, I didn't mean it for you. I was just telling him. I guess he's not tired. And then as soon as they start telling him, oh, he's not tired, I see his whole face change. So, yeah.
Everything is in the mind. I got 2 great stories. The one time, the same thing. I was fighting Maurice Smith, and I was getting tired because I was sick that day. And Jason DeLucia in his corner, he said, hey, Maurice is getting tired. And you see me stop during the fight. And I look at Jason and I go, no way, Jason. And I continue. So I just bluffed myself out of it, but it worked. Yeah. And this is a great story. You remember Hector Penya, right? He passed away, unfortunately, but it's the highest decorated Mexican fighter of all times. It's in Thai boxing, 13, 14 world titles. He's fighting Danny Steele. Danny Steele is known for low kicks. Right, he was very known for that. And now I'm training with him the week before, and Hector is a freaking maniac. He's a little guy, but man, he can hit and he can kick. And I said, dude, you got to slow down. I said, because I'm not the guy you got to fight. And I said, nobody needs to get hurt. So he turned it up. I go, dude, I will do it back to you if you don't stop right now, you know. But I think there was something going on. He kept going, and immediately I gave him a really hard low kick. Boom. He's laying on the ground. He goes, oh, no. And I go, oh, I'm such an idiot, you know. And he goes, what now? He's known for his low kicks. I say, you know what? I'm going to make sure he won't throw a low kick. And he looks at me and said, what do you mean? I said, just trust me on it. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure he doesn't throw one low kick. We go to the fight. I asked the promoter, where's Danny warming up? That room. So I bring Hector, come with me. So we open the door and I said, darn, you're here, you're warming up here. Yeah. He goes, oh, boss, it's okay, because Hector and I used to train together and we know each other. I say, I know, but we got some really good counters for your low kicks and I don't want you to see those. I said, so don't worry about it. I closed the door. Didn't throw one low kick. I completely got in his head. He thinks, shit, if I throw a low kick, I'm going to get knocked out. it was just the power of suggestion.
Yeah, that's it. That's how it
That
works.
was it. Completely shut him down.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, I love it. Okay, let me ask you some other questions. So as I said, so many of my viewers are into self-improvement. If you could give one piece of advice to people who are looking to improve themselves, what would you recommend?
Always go for the highest possible quality, magnanimity. Go shoot for the stars. If you do something, do it right.
I agree.
And if you just always do that, that's it. But self-improvement starts with yourself. It starts with being on time. It starts with, whatever you tell yourself to do, you will have to do it. If you wake up in the morning and you say, hey, listen, today I'm going to go, I do a 45-minute workout, and then you don't do it that day, now you made yourself weaker. What I do, I force myself to do it. And even if it's a workout and it's a crappy workout, I work out because I told myself. And I've been doing that since I started fighting. So that's why I could always push, because I would say today I'm going to do after workout 10 rounds on the back. And if I wouldn't do it, I'm that guy who cannot look at myself in the mirror in the evening because I didn't do what I was telling that I was going to do. So the one person in the world that you can never screw over is yourself, because it all starts with you. Whatever you say, tell yourself you're going to do, you're going to do. When you don't, you get weaker. This is how alcoholism starts. Everything, every vice starts like that. And every time you say no, you're weaker. Once you say yes, it's hard. But the next day, it's an easier yes. A little bit, but it is. And slowly but surely, you keep doing it. And now it's just breaking habits. Get rid of old habits and changing them into good habits.
You know what's interesting? Have you ever heard the affirmation, every day in every way I'm getting better and better?
No.
It's a real famous affirmation. It's by this French psychologist, Emile Coué. I say his name incorrectly a lot of times, but he was really famous. He had this big institute back in France back in the day, and he actually recommended. He said one thing that he recommended. He said, if you say you're going to do something, do it. Otherwise, don't say it. He said your subconscious hears you, and it's either going to improve your confidence or it's going to decrease it, depending on what you say and what you actually do. So. Man,
I love that. That's really cool. I had really cool things because I did things in fighting in where, like for instance, I was the main event, and then my opponent was already in the ring, and I would come up with like a 2-minute intro. I wouldn't even start walking for 2 minutes, and they would scream at me, the production, "You go now!" But I was just doing that to annoy the guy, because if he's annoyed, his equilibrium goes up, turns off, things happen. And then the next fight, I would suddenly run up. I would be there, they would expect another long one, and boom, suddenly I'm there, running to the ring, and they go, "That's fine now." And they go, like, "What's going on?" And then I read the book from Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman in the world, the Book of Five Rings, that's it, the writer from that. And he used to do exactly the same, dude. I was so ecstatic when I read these things. He would go, show up 2 hours late, not completely stressed out. He would just beat him up. And then suddenly he would, one time on the way over, suddenly he would appear on the road there. He says, "Let's do it now." And I go, dude, I seriously did that stuff as well. So when you hear confirmations like that, also what you said with that famous guy who says the same thing, I love that, because I never heard from somebody. And you know me, if I would hear from somebody, because you see all my submissions that I learned from all my big DVDs of combat, I say, "Oh, so-and-so told me this. He told me this." I always give the name to the props to the person who showed it to me. So, but that was just out of myself. I always did that. Don't fool yourself.
I agree.
That's the last person you want to fool.
And you had told me that years ago. Anything I say I do, I do. And I always remembered that. So I would tell people, like, they say, "Oh, do you want to come here on Saturday?" I'd say, "Let me tell you on Saturday, because if I say it, I'm going to do it. If I'm not, I'm not going to." So
yeah. And then there is a yes and a no. There's not a maybe. There's black and white. There's no gray areas. If I say yes, it will happen, because I didn't say maybe. Or, no. If I'm committing, I'm committing, and I can count on maybe 2 hands my entire life that I had to, but then, I'm the guy who pulls. It's like coming late. I'm never late. That's maybe 10 times in my entire life, and that's because there's traffic jam. Because normally I'm like 30 minutes early.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the car waiting, whatever I need to do. But I hate people who come up late. Like, you get 2 warnings with me. That's it. I won't teach you anymore. I had guys, I said, time is the one thing we can never get back. So use it well.
I remember one time we met for lunch. I said, "I'm going to get there early." And I got there early, and you were already seated. So that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Are you reading anything good nowadays?
Well, again, that book, I have it here, right? The Breathing for Warriors from Belisa Venice, the woman I was just talking about. And Quantum Quotation is a book now from Carl. So I'm reading about, and it's really interesting. He interviewed me for spirits and all that stuff. And I'm very religious, and I've been attacked by a spirit. These crazy things I had. So I know there's way more out there than we can see with our eyes. And he's on the same level. And he even wants to start a podcast now. And that guy is a freak. He's a very smart guy as well. So I said, I might do it. I said, I don't have time. He said, don't worry, because he just moved probably in April or May. I said, that would be perfect. I would love to do something like that.
Cool. Nice. Good stuff. By the way, for those who don't believe there's something higher, smoke 50 milligrams of DMT and you'll change your whole...
Oh, that's the best thing ever. I didn't do ayahuasca yet, but that's on my wish list now. I want to do it for a couple hours. I mean, I took off, man. It is so cool. It is so amazing. You close your eyes, I tell people, you open them up in another world. Mm-hmm. It's like literally that vivid. Like, what the heck is going on? And the first time I did it, I came home and I figured, let's Google about it. I should have done it before, right? But so that said right away, so my experience was I wanted to talk to God. And I'm going out and I shoot away from the planet. And I see the planet go so smaller, smaller. I'm in the air now. And I go, whoa, this is great. Let's see if I can fly. Yeah. Oh, let's see if I can go warp speed. And I start going warp speed. I go, dude, this is crazy. And then suddenly it stopped. And there was this giant black hole. And all things, I saw trees go in and cars. And something told me I got to go in there. So I'm flying over. But now at this moment in the room, somebody was walking around through the room with more people doing it. And he touched me. And I snapped out of it. Yep. And I go, no, I need to go back. I tried again, but I couldn't go back anymore. I said, I needed to go in that black hole, in the wormhole. So I come home and do the information about it. And I see you're connected to a parallel universe. A Harvard professor saying this. I said, what? And so I click on the link. And there's Earth, there's a parallel universe, a freaking wormhole in the middle.
Oh, man.
No way. Because I didn't know that. It was right there in my face. Unreal, man.
It is. And for those who may or may not know about psychedelics, the long-term benefit effects of when you do DMT, it lasts for they've done studies 6 or 8 months later, the people are still feeling the positive effects on it. So
my wife said after a week, she said, you got to stop talking about it. The first time I did, I got such an experience. Mm-hmm. Like my friend, you remember, I don't want to say because that people might know, but a friend of mine that you know as well. He was married is married with this woman who had a very bad relationship before. She was married to another guy. Anyway, they have kids and they have to, share the kids, and it's always a nightmare, always a nightmare. And for years they try to avoid the guy. They don't even want to talk to him because he's a complete douchebag. And then one day he calls them and he said, I would love to take you guys out to dinner. I need to say something. So he didn't want to do it, my buddy. And he goes, okay, we'll do it, to keep the peace for the kids. And they go over there and the guy walks over to him and he wants to hug him. My friend go, whoa, what's going on? Just tell me what you need. I don't need tissue. He said, no. He says, I did ayahuasca, he said. And I found out that I had the biggest piece of shit ever. He says, I want to make amends. And this guy is one of the best friends right now.
No kidding.
I mean, completely flipped by doing it. People with PTSD. I mean, everybody's helped by that stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a life changer. It's something that I think everybody should do at some point when they're ready for it. So
yeah, I told my kids already. I wanted to do, when my youngest daughter is 21, to do all ayahuasca. Go take a good shaman and go go there. But my wife is out there too with her mind. Well, Karen, and if she says no, I'm afraid of it because she's so out there. It might backfire. Nobody backfires, but you will see it does to her. But still, with the kids, I would love to do it.
That'd be awesome. I think that would be life changing. My friend said doing ayahuasca. He said doing DMT is like reading a 1,000-page book in 10 seconds, and he said doing ayahuasca is like reading it in 10 hours. So he said you're just in that world.
Because every time you have you come back, and I was with Dwayne Ludwig sitting right, and I go like, wow, how long was that? He goes, 4 minutes. And I go, are you serious? I thought it was like 45 minutes gone. And I go, dude, I want to do ayahuasca because that's hours. Mm-hmm. It's going to feel like you're a week gone, and you can experiment. Did you hear about the healer box? What people talk about? Like somebody goes in with an injury and they get in contact with the healer box. And there's a little box floating in white dots and people come out of the ayahuasca experience and it's healed.
No,
do a research on that. So I really want to go there with my neck now, you know.
Oh, and see if it'll fix it.
Everything, God.
Yeah. Why not? When I feel like you're tapping into something so much higher. Yeah, instantly. So yeah, well, try it out. I'm gonna find someplace cool. My friend did it recently, so I'll get the info from it, and I'll let you know.
Hey, let me know, because then maybe you and I do it together.
Okay, cool. All right,
I'd love to. Excited.
All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, so you're Mr. Charisma. I know you as Mr. Charisma. You're like the life of the party. A lot of guys that follow me, they want advice on how to approach women or how to talk to them. Do you have any advice for any of that, or just in dating?
I've never been a big guy like that. You should ask Amir Perez.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's the top dog. No, what I say is this, and it's with everything. Everything is hard the first time, but trust me, if you force yourself to do it and you just do it 10 times, it's already normal, and now it's normal. But it's the first 10 times that might be hard, and that's the problem. That's why a lot of these guys start, for instance, drinking or drugs, because if they drink 2 beers, suddenly they have a little bit more, confidence, and they walk up to the girl, and then it's working, and now they blame the beer. Not the blame, they say, oh, it's because of the beer. You see, that's an addiction waiting to happen. So watch out for that kind of stuff. Just force yourself to do it. My daughter's had a problem with looking people in the eyes. I say, from now on, like now, not tomorrow. You shake somebody's hand, you give them 2 seconds in the face. Just look at that. And she did it 3 days. She goes, Daddy, it's so easy. I go, I told you, it's just doing it. It's just like fighting in the beginning. It's just like driving a car with a stick shift in Holland. It's quite crazy. Now you can do it. It's just doing it. Once you do it, it becomes normal. But you have to force yourself. And again, if you say you're going to do it. Because if you push out, next day it's going to be harder.
I agree. I used to, when I would teach dating, I would make everybody go to the bar sober, and I would force them to do it there. That way they didn't want to rely on that crutch. Because if you see a girl during the day, how can you approach it? What do you do? Go stop and get a drink somewhere? And then I would time them, just because you got to get the reps in fast. And if they approach 3 or 4 women, I tell them, you have every minute, you have to go talk to somebody unless you're still in an interaction. And by the 4th or 5th one, that anxiety is now enthusiasm. And so then they would get rapid results really quick.
It's really easy. Plus, if you drink and if you're nervous and you drink too much, there's nothing worse for a lady to have a drunk guy. They're completely destroying it.
I agree. And then I asked some of the guys that I know, I said, hey, I'm going to interview Boss in a minute. Any questions? So one of them wanted to know, he said, would you let your grandson compete in MMA?
Oh, yeah, if he wants to, for sure. He's a natural heavyweight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can already tell. He was hitting things and he was pushing a big truck. I mean, he's 5, but he's a strong kid. He's a head bigger, taller than all the other kids in class. And his father wanted him to play soccer, but he started hitting things. And my daughter goes, oh, no. I go, no, it's okay. I said, just let him come visit me one time. I'm going to lose his passport. And then I'm going to keep him in this country. We'll make a champion out of it.
Nice. That's awesome. Speaking of fighting, if you were to fight nowadays, let's say you were in your prime fighting nowadays, what weight would you fight at?
205, maybe even 185, because I'm like 210, and that's like not even trying. So it's like for my heavyweight fight, I was too light. I was 197. I literally had to drink waters at the weigh-in, and I was standing with my jeans on the scale, and I had to be over 200. Otherwise, it was still going to be a title fight. So I drank all the waters from my friends, went back on the scale, 203. I drank a lot of water. But you see, so I think that if I would just focus on, I think a 185, I can even make. Look, nowadays also, if you stand next to a John Jones, a Tito Ortiz, and all these guys, they're freaking big, tall. I'm like a midget compared to these guys, and I weigh more. I have no clue how that's possible. So yeah, probably 205 or 185, maybe 185.
Cool, very cool. And then, do you have a favorite fighter right now that's fighting?
Or
anybody you like to watch?
Israel Adesanya. I'm a big fan. I like McGregor also, just the way he brings attention to the sport, and then and I'm backing up what he's doing. I wish his ground was a little bit better. That would be even cooler. But man, the things he's doing in the boxing. I mean, if he would have been in full shape, he would have gone the distance with Mayweather.
I agree. I
believe it. And that's a guy who never did a professional boxing match. I think, dude, against Mayweather. That was pretty impressive. To me, it was. So, yeah, but Adesanya, I love a lot. Petr Yan, I love that guy also. So many. Max Holloway.
Yeah.
I mean, TJ Dillashaw. I mean, all these guys are so all over the place. But Petr Yan, or Jan Petr, he looks like a kid almost.
Yeah, yep.
You see him fight, it's like Ramon Decker style, like so much power, you know. I love to see guys like that. And Max Holloway, you know, that's what always my claim to fame was, or my claim to fame. When we were talking about on Inside MMA, the TV show I had for a while, I'm telling this for the people, Conor McGregor fought Max Holloway. And there was both, I think it was their third fight in the UFC, maybe the fourth or so. Max was a young guy at the time. And Max lost by decision. And after the fight, we were talking about the fight. And they said, what do you think of this guy, Conor McGregor? I said, wow, he's got great accuracy. He's got a good reach. He knows how to use the reach. His distance is really good. You know, yeah, no, he will go somewhere. And what about his opponent? I say, I think he will be the next UFC champion.
No kidding.
And they go like, but he lost. I say, yeah, but at that age, the way he controlled the distance, that's very hard. I don't see that often. If I see it immediately, you know, I go, whoa, that guy's going to go far. And boom, he became the UFC champion. Nice. You know, so that's what I always tell people is nose on your opponent and who can control the distance. And stamina, of course. You need that a lot.
And then, do you think COVID is afraid of you?
I think I had it all the way in the beginning because Karen she was super sick for 8 days. And I remember the only thing, because I recoup really fast, I'm very blessed with those kind of things. One night I was teaching, and normally I always shake hands. I say, let's not shake hands. I say, I feel something, I might be sick, you know? And then I went home and I started shaking, and I remember my clothes, go in bed, sweating the whole night. Next day it was gone. Nice. So at Karen had 8 days. I had one night, but it was a heavy night. And after that, it was good, and I didn't get anything. So, yeah, I hope COVID, he should be scared of me, COVID.
That's right. And then this will be the last question. Oh, actually, one MMA question and then one non-MMA question. If you could give advice to your younger self, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, man, that's a big thing.
Especially you had a crazy life. So
yeah. Okay, tone out on the drinking. Let's not get any tattoos. Don't use profanity. I'll stop doing that. Like 6 years ago, I got pulled back into the faith, and then I stopped doing all these things. And my friends didn't notice a thing except that I stopped swearing. Forget about buying a Porsche and doing all these things. It is so stupid to buy all these things. I can't shoot myself in the head right now just thinking about the money I wasted. You know, yes, I had a great time. I loved every minute of it. I was always happy to jump in the car and have a great time, you know, but still you go like, dude, it's so about what other people perceive you, you know, and it is so stupid to live like that. And I figured that out, that it's absolutely nothing. You know, there's nothing you can buy that makes you smart or stupid or increases you. Nothing. Zero. You know, I always talk about that makes you a man. I said, don't even a tank, guys. Actually, if you buy a tank, you're less of a man, you know, because you need a tank to make yourself good. That's why the big cars with the little guys and the arms out and, you know, they're only, you know, all that stuff is so useless. I would say that to myself, you know, and then be a clean guy. What about being a world champion? You know, knocking people out, great high, everything, my whole career. But imagine that you never use profanity, have zero tattoos, and be the super nice guy. How cool would that be? What an example that will be to other people out there, you know? So that's what I always thought. And my tattoos, it's not like I'm complaining about it because you almost can't tell them I have them at certain places. But, you know, I've always thought I wouldn't do that. You know, a little bit of respect.
But that's growth. I feel like sometimes you have to go through that just to arrive where you are now. And then you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Now I learned it. So
that's it, man. All these earthly possessions, as we call it, you know, the things that makes you cool, they make you the opposite. You know, it's like I'm walking on the street and you pick up poop, and one person said to me, "Wow, you pick up the poop from the dog." I mean, you're not you don't feel like a loser or something doing it. I say that's the thing. I said the guy who doesn't do it, that's the loser. Absolutely. Because he's afraid what other people think about him. I said, think about this. He's insecure. Oh, I'm not going to do it, you know, and because it's not manly. It is manly. It is manly. You just programmed a different way. We're living in a world that, you know, I remember Jessica Simpson was used in her bikini to sell a freaking Carl's Jr. burger. You know, think about that. And it works. Yeah. So people buy burgers because they see a hot girl in a bikini. Think about that. If you really break it down, you go like, this is insanity. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense. So once you start seeing those things, and thankfully I only saw them 6 years ago because I'm 55. So at 49, I finally grew up, I go, that's it. I did this 90-day thing. I'm in for first day to day again. It's called Exodus 90. So this 3 months. Let me grab up my phone so I can read up what we can and what you can do. And this is, it's like Lent on steroids, so to say. Okay, so you can only take short and cold showers, practice regular intense exercise, full night's sleep. It's all easy. Abstain from alcohol, abstain from desserts and sweets, abstain from eating in between meals, abstain from soda or sweet drinks, abstain from television, movies, or televised sports, abstain from non-essential material purchases, only listen to music that lifts the soul, only use the computer for work, only use your mobile device for work, and then 2 fasting days. I did that last time, and I think that 80% of my social media was gone after that. That's when I realized how much time I was wasting on that surfing and looking at things. Now I couldn't watch TV. I started reading books, And by the way, speaking of books, what you said before, read The Alchemist. I tell everybody, you gotta read that book, best book ever. That will set you on the straight path. But you see, that opened everything up, and I felt so good about it last year. So we decided for like 9 other guys, with a group of 10, we're doing it again, and we started yesterday.
By the way, that's super hard because I'm going on a social media type fast. I post my stuff for work and then I log out of everything. And when you stop doing everything, like you don't watch TV anymore, sometimes you're at night and you have like nothing to do. So you got to read, or you're just like meditating or hanging out. But it's
all the things that you said, maybe you said, shit, I should have learned Spanish.
Yeah. You have time now.
3 months. Mm-hmm. You read 2 hours a day. You might be speaking it after 3 months. I mean, 2 hours a day, every single day. If you just you got the time. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you do it? You want to always learn how to play the piano. Well, now you have the time. Those things, just grab them and just do it. Like a lot of times you think, 3 months of this thing. So I read that book, The Greatest Salesman in the World,
that's a great book.
From Mandino. And it takes 10 months to read. And people go, why? Is it this book? No, it's this thin of a book. But it has scroll. So this guy who is the greatest salesman in the world is looking for an apprentice because he's going to die soon. And he gives him the secret to become the greatest salesman in the world. Now, the secret is this box with 30 scrolls in them. And every scroll, one scroll, he has to read every day, 3 times a day. When he wakes up, he reads it. Then during the day, find a nice quiet space, read it again. And just before you go to sleep, you read it again for 30 days straight. Now, it's really smart. And a lot of these things we know, but we don't do them anymore. So we preach them, but we don't actually do them. But once you start doing that, you read it 2 times a day. It's just like 4 or 5 minutes. It's not even a big read, or maybe 7 minutes, but within 2 weeks, you memorize the whole thing. You go like, man, I can literally, and that's how they get inside your head, and the first part is about habits, a thing that has been my entire life. And boom, there it was, everything is what happens with me. And there it was in the book also, so these things, but a lot of these things you don't do anymore. Once you get refreshed, I suggest doing it, but it takes 10 months. And a lot of people, I don't want to do it. It's 10 months. I'm happy I did it because I knew that time flies by, and suddenly it's 10 months later and I read the book.
Absolutely. And 10 months is going to come either way. You might as well have everything the way you want it as opposed to not. I gave that book, by the way, to one of my friends. One of my friends was really successful in business, and then he went through this slump, and I said, oh, man, I got it. Here. And I gave him that book, and he ended up making millions from it. So he said that book lit him on fire again and totally changed it. And you mentioned The Alchemist. I gave that to a friend of mine who was on hardcore drugs. I said, hey, read this book. And that was it. It made him get sober after that. So
you see, yeah, it's a big book. It changes. It's 770 million copies sold. I mean, that says something about the book. What did I want to say about...
By the way, have you heard how he gave that book out?
What?
He was, if I remember the story correctly, he was putting the book online for free back when you could... I forgot how it was. But basically, his publisher found that somebody was distributing all these copies of his book for free, and then it turned out it was him. But because he did that through word of mouth, it ended up spreading, and it ended up becoming this big selling phenomenon.
Wow, That's really awesome. Yeah, he's Paulo Coelho. He's a Brazilian guy.
Yep.
But yeah, it's the most translated book next to the Bible.
No kidding. Yep.
So think about that. That is freaking awesome. And then Oak Medino, that book, the greatest salesman in the world. I did that when I saw Matthew McConaughey. I think he's a very interesting guy, and I believe what I see is normally what you see is not what you get. But I have the feeling with him, it really is what he is. And he said it on the Actor Studio. He was doing the interview there on the Actor Studio, and he said that book changed him when he was like 20 years old. I go, Let's read it. Let's do it.
Have you heard Og's backstory, by the way?
No.
So he used to be homeless, and this librarian told him, I forgot what part of the East Coast he lived in, but in the wintertime it starts snowing over there. So she said, you can come to the library, and every day, she said, I'll give you one meal a day, but during the time you're here, you have to read the whole time, from the time you're here until the library closes. And he said is what he would do. And so he would just read nonstop. And he said it totally changed his thinking and his way of life. And then after that, he went on to write all these books.
You see, man, and if he wouldn't have been homeless, it wouldn't have happened to him. You see, again, that's a bad thing that happens to you, but it happens for a reason. I'm telling you, man, that's the same with the Alchemist, right? Everything happens for a reason. All the omens are lining up, and one door closes. Oh, inside MMA stuff. Sure. Oh, but now what? Kevin James. Hey, finally you can come on our show because we're filming on the same day on Friday evening. Boom, did 23 episodes on Kevin Can't Wait on the sitcom. You see, so every time when something bad happens, and my wife always says, you know, it's been your entire life. Something comes. It's always, I say, yeah, but sometimes it's scary. There's no money, right? But she's always right. Poof, suddenly it's something. Then COVID. I mean, completely. The gym closed. That was one of the things. I didn't work for the PFL anymore. I mean, everything started closing down. Karate Combat couldn't do that because of the whole thing that's happening with the COVID. There was no money. And then suddenly my O2 trainer, boom, I started blasting up. You see, there's always something.
Your wife, though, has like a sixth sense, though, for those who don't know this about this stuff. So
unbelievable. She when I met her all the way back, and that was way before fighting. It was in 92. It was 28 years ago. And I was not fighting anymore. It wasn't because, I fought a fight. I lost a fight in Holland, and people said, they were talking crap about me. I forget about it. And then she told me, suddenly she had this weird look in her eyes, and I said, what's going on? And she goes like, you're going to be a famous fighter in Japan. And I go, what do you mean? I'm not going to fight anymore. She says, yeah, but you said Holland. You're going to go to Japan. I go, whatever. 8 months later, somebody invites me to go to a tryout for a club, and that was for Pancrase. Yeah. I knocked the guy out, hit the tryout, boom, I'm suddenly in Japan. So, and I expected never to fight anymore because I was not going to fight anymore. Japan. And then, like, within months, she's having the same stare, and I recognize it now. I go, now what? She said, we're going to go to America, and you're going to be in the TV business.
Nice.
Boom, had a show, 9 years on TV, 531 episodes live. It's insanity. I did with Kevin Can't Wait. She just threw that out, and it just came through. It's amazing.
One quick question, and then I'll let you go enjoy your night. What do you think has been the secret to your longevity? Whether you've been successful in all these different things, what do you think is back to that? Is it just your work ethic?
Yeah, it's all work ethic. Everything is, because I'm a guy. I don't have a great memory. I have because I just work hard, and that's the same with everything else. I just work really hard. Always pushing yourself. There was something I wanted to say. What is give me the question maybe to refresh the way you said it.
What do you think is the secret to your longevity?
It's hard working, but it all came from me being sick as a kid. Mm-hmm. It came all from that, from being bullied, being the leper in school. That's what they called me with my skin disease. And people coming up, and since then, I always wanted to prove myself, And also seeing everything positive. Like I had really bad, I did this with this, and my eczema would burst and pus would come out. It was disgusting. I had to wear special gloves, and it was in my neck or my ears. So I was the leper at school. But I knew there's people out there who had what I had on my arms and my hands were completely covered like that. So that wasn't so bad. That asthma attack I had for a week in bed, like every 5 weeks or so. There were people out there who have that every single day for 365 days a year. See, compared to them, it's not that bad. There's always somebody who has it worse than you, whatever you have. And that's a rule I always live by, and then, accept life and just glasses always half full. It's like, why would you be down? What is going down doing for you? What are nerves do for you? What is depression do for you? Or you see, like the saying that I use the most is, we cross that bridge once we're there. And so, oh my God, tomorrow might this happen. They're going to fall over me. I won't do anything to me. I'm completely based out. We cross that bridge once it happens, because you can jump high, and then it doesn't happen. You're going to feel down, and always be like that. There is no reason. If somebody texts you, you don't have to text back immediately. You don't have to react right away. Give yourself time. It's an important thing, like on social media, wait. If it's an angry thing, never write back right away. Write it on a Word document, and the next day you go over and you go, oh shit, I'm going to cut 40% off, and then 5 hours later you cut another 30% off. It's always good. And then once the moment presents itself, being ready, man, being ready. Like when I came to America, I still had 4 fights left. Within 3 weeks, I was taking acting classes at the Beverly Hills Beverly Hills Playhouse. Because I knew eventually, once I stopped fighting, I wanted to do something in films, whether it was stunts or choreography or acting. You know, I didn't know at the time, but I wanted to do something movie. That's why I came to America. I love the American dream, you know. So, but being prepared, you know. And then I was very blessed also. Everything lined up for me perfectly. Like the Lord gave me all my injuries, which I hated at the time. But guess what? Going out on a 22-fight unbeaten streak, pretty cool, you know. And if I would have had no injuries, I would have kept fighting. And eventually you're going to lose because these guys are half your age, you know, and they've been training since they were freaking 8 years old. I mean, you are. That's reality, you know. But all the injuries took that problem away from me. And then just being at the right spot every time. It's like literally like the Alchemist. I'm sitting in Japan, trading marqueur. This is before Pride Fighting Championships were going to pay-per-view. We're watching the TV of the fights in the dressing room. There's 2 people from Pride are there. And I say, oh, look at this. He's getting armbarred. And he goes, what do you mean? I say, oh, look. And he says, no, but there's no armbar. I said, give it 10 seconds, you know. And 10 seconds later, boom, there's an armbar. And they go like, how do you know? I said, well, you can see the setup, you know. And then I had another fight. It was with Carlos Newton and Sakuraba, and Carlos was sitting behind him. They were all fours, and I said, "Oh, he shouldn't do it. He's going to roll him into a knee bar. Watch." And he goes, "There's no way." I said, "Just give it a few seconds," and boom, he rolled in, and he wins the fight by knee bar. So they go, "Dude, have you ever accommodated? Because next month we're going to broadcast the show live to America on pay-per-view. You want to be a commentator?" Sure. Listen, I was so green, Tony. I came in there. I had no clue. That's how stupid I am. I had no clue that commentators need to wear a suit. I went to the in my shorts, Hawaiian flower shirt on, and flip-flops. Swear to God. They come to me, they says, where's your suit? And I said, suit? They started laughing. They thought I was joking. I said, no, nobody told me to bring a suit. I had no clue. And we went to the store, and now we had to do something different because I'm in my freaking flower shirt, you know. So they said, okay, we're going to work around. Thankfully, we had Michael Braverman. He was a really good producer, and he said, let's make a skit out of it. You're in the back room. There's like 6 geishas fanning you down and feeding you grapes, and you're telling war stories. Yeah, there was 12 guys ready to attack me. I just get, and then Stephen Quadros would be in the arena, and he would throw it to me, and he'd go, hey, boss. He'd go, oh, hey, man, what's up? You know, yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'll go back to the ladies, okay? And that became a hit suddenly. But everybody said, dude, that was the greatest opening. So now we started doing it every time. We start making this little movie opening, so to say. You see, again, something goes wrong. And out of that, suddenly something rises. And that made Pride, I think, famous in the beginning. Because there was just weird things that I did with Quentin Jackson. Or, you know, every time we had this weird opening, which people would love at the time.
I think it was super fun because it was always something different. I'm laughing. 1, I'm thinking of the openings, and 2, I'm thinking of a story one time you told me about how you always work hard. Is it all right if I share the story about you hitting the bag one day when you didn't feel that good?
Okay, you tell me. Which one the story is? I had a few of those.
Okay, so you told me the story about one morning you go in, it's really early, and you didn't feel that well, and so you're hitting the bag super hard, and you thought if I don't feel that well today, but I go super hard next time when I'm healthy, I'll be able to go even harder. And so you're hitting the bag, and then you said, like a couple hours later, somebody's waking you up when the first class for the gym is starting.
Oh, that's okay. So that was my overtraining thing. Yeah. So what I thought, this is how dumb I am, you know. And I always said something happens like that. So I thought the more you train, the stronger you get. 2 times a day, 7 days a week. Always working out as hard as I can. I had 4.5% body fat. So I told myself I was going to do 10 rounds on the back. And I something happened. I got tired. I gave myself, I said, forget about it. Just because I said to myself, I was not going to do it. I'm going to add 3 rounds. And I kept going. And that's when I woke up. Somebody woke me up. I just passed out. Then I went to the doctor. And the doctor looks at me and says, you work out every. He says, boss, do you know how your body works? I said, I have no clue. You know, how do you train the better? No. If you work out, you're breaking your muscles down. And if you give them protein, good food, they come back stronger. That's why when you break a bone and you set it correctly, it will never break at the same spot. It's actually stronger there. Same with the muscles. Everything becomes stronger. She said, if you take rest, like 2 days a week, he said, you're going to be so strong. You have no clue what's going to happen now. I said, but I can tell you already, you're going to be incredibly strong because what you've been doing, you have a really hard drive. I mean, to go to 4.5% body fat was nothing, you know, and I just passed out because I said my body couldn't do it anymore. It took me 3 months to get out of that. I mean, I was teaching 3 classes a week, and for the rest, I was laying in bed eating and taking calm. I was completely destroyed. And then when I started taking rest, yeah, that's when I got really strong. So, yeah, that was crazy. But there was another story. That's what I thought you were. That was when I was a kid. I had this a bag with sand in it in Holland, but there's a name for it. You know the bags that you use as a kid where you jump in? What is that material? There's canvas or something. It looks like something. Okay. And there was sand in there. And every morning when I would wake up and I would get my bicycle because I was standing there, I would hit the bag as hard as I could. Right? Bang! Just 1 punch. And one night, and it was sand in there, it was a little moist, it had frozen. Dude, I thought you meant that thing, dude, in my head. It was so crazy. I hit the thing as hard as I could. It was a rock. You know, so yeah, not a fun experience.
All right, cool. Well, on that note, I appreciate you taking the time out. This has been an awesome talk. Is there anything you want to tell anybody, anything else? Anyone, share your website, something?
No, just, like I said, shoot for the stars, and if you have asthma, COPD, or you've been an athlete, check into the O2 trainer. We're sold out right now, so it's going to be a little bit for those new ones. We're waiting. We're really trying to get them fast here. But yeah, just check that out. I think if you're PTSD, anxiety, it works for everything. It's like there's Boss Rutten's O2 Bootcamp. There's a Facebook page, a private Facebook page, where a lot of O2 trainer users are. You just post a question and people will answer you. So, it's not me. And I've maybe 5-6 friends on there. The rest is like real people. So everything you hear, it's honesty and it's 100% truth.
Awesome. All right. And for those of you who are watching this, check it out. You can even type in on YouTube, O2 trainer reviews, and it's just person after person just talking about how great it is. So It's fantastic.
It's a stupid little thing. It looks like nothing, but it's very powerful.
Awesome. All right, cool. Thanks, boss. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk with me. You are the man. And I'll send you this once I have it up.
All right, brother.
All right, thank you. All right. Good talking.